Hey everyone, this is Brian with Draggin Masters. I've been gone for a couple of months and I decided we're working on getting stuff ready for iCast in July. So I decided to do a little video. We're nearly fully stocked on the Draggin Master page. Anyway, I was going to try to keep this short and kind of go over some products. And you've probably seen this before, but I did a demonstration a while back on the brush guard, and I had learned some new things. We had changed the product up a little bit, and I was going to do a little demonstration. The actual final end of our design actually turned out a little bit better, and I wanted to show y'all. I've got, I'll show you a couple things here. I'll try to be as fast as I can. We have a lot of product I was going to try to do today. I don't know if anybody noticed before, but the brush guard actually designed like a peg. So if you were putting, with some heavy timber and you wanted to put a brush guard in front of your float, and it doesn't have to be the Bite Me float, it can be a regular standard float that fits these. You can still put a rattle in there. That's you can even take this brush guard, if you don't like how wide it is down by the float, you could trim it up a little bit. Works just like, run this through, works just like it did before. It goes right up there. I'm not popping it out, but it'll come right out. And without it, a lot of you probably, if you've noticed, the float is a lot of time what will get you hung up, and break your, where you eventually have to break your line. What we noticed last year using the float, and earlier this year, the float's so flexible. We pull, we'd get hung up on the float because we weren't using a brush guard, and we would eventually get what we thought most of them out, because when we get them to the boat, this float would be wormed all the way around, almost coming off the hook, and we were able to retrieve all of our rig. But without it, it doesn't matter if it's one of these floats or a regular styrofoam type float that we use in line. I mean, that's what happens. And then I'm not going to break this to show you what it does, but that's just if you want to use it for that. I don't personally yet. I do use it above my weight, and I'll show you how I do that. So I'm going to put that back in there. This will probably take me the longest to show you some cool stuff with this brush guard. I've been back and forth for a long time using braid or mono. What I've learned since we've had these rigs and using them, even last year, and when I was, I was going to bring my old design. My first ones were made out of steel. It was out of a MIG welder, and they weren't as flexible. And the brush guard would probably help them. But one of the things, lined up here. This is I'll switch back to mono, and I'll tell you why. I even have a demonstration to show you why. Mono's slicker. You can kind of think about it like this. If you've ever been out doing some plumbing and you dug up a PVC pipe and you can't get a saw down in the hole, if you had a roll of mono or choice of braid, which one would you pick? Well, it'd be braid, because you can take braid and actually cut PVC. So you can imagine if your lead line is going through timber, and now that we're structuring timber, I've just gone straight mono, unless we're bumping straight mono. We saw a difference in the. This is a board I made for practicing indoors. Anyway, I'll show you with this. I'm gonna go ahead and show you this. My original one was actually angled the other way, which helped. This is terrible looking right there. This actually angles the other direction, so we're going opposite. So it's a little bit tougher, but we changed this hub design on these, and it helps get up this crack. And this is just a jigsaw, fine jigsaw blade cut through this board, and you know, you got to move up your hand. I know people made comments of your hand's going up higher. This one this is a new one I cut into here, and I'll show you why. What I noticed about the brush guard is if you got in something, you could sit there and pop it back and forth and eventually get it out. And I'll show you I made some cuts in here to see if I could see what that was and why I could do that. So there's a little cut right there and it'll end. So if you're in some cracks of rocks or trees, I'll show you, I'll make it go over that crack. If you notice, it still backs out. You pop it, pop it, pop it, pop it, and then come on out of the hole. This is without a brush guard. And this is where I'm talking about using mono as a benefit. And I'll show you, I've got some rigs tied in braid too. This is mono, and we have better luck getting the mono to come up. I'm going to go up size of was. I can almost get it out of there, popping it. That has to do with the mono, not. I was using braid beginning of last year. If you're targeting structure, drifting, dragging, even anchored, I would suggest going to mono if you're throwing in structure, pulling in structure. I'm going to show you after I do this what a braid will do differently from that. That's getting hung up. And then in this one, it's near impossible. It goes in that V crack and it's pretty much done. I mean, that's where we're breaking stuff off. It's not going to come out. You know, no matter how tall I get over here to the left, it's not going to really come out. This back in there, it's going to come out. Is it foolproof, 100% magic? No. We've lost rigs with the brush guard. Is it going to save you some money? Absolutely. It's going to save you a lot of money. With the combination of the brush guard, the inline dragging weight, and then you got a weedless hook, all of it together, you're going to save a lot of money in rigs. I'm not going to pop any names out, but I've got some friends in the industry that you know that have had this experience. Most of them have had this experience on actually Lake Wheeler. I'm excited for this product. Just now finally get on the market. But this is the brush guard. We just got these in Wednesday, I guess. But we're already down to a limited stock on these. I have some here at my warehouse. Coy has some, and we're shipping out a bunch to Tackle Bandit and Macy's Fish and Find. They'll have some brush guards in stock. We have very few left. Now, there's a shipment of, I believe, 18,000. That'll be here in probably 2 or 3 weeks. But this is a good addition to your rig if you're dragging. Even if you're throwing in brush and you're anchored up, it's still a good, get your rig back, as you can see. And this is just a demonstration. When I built this originally, I was just trying to find the hardest way to demonstrate how this thing worked. So one more time. Is it foolproof? Again, no. Now I'm going to show you the difference if you're using braid. So rigs here. If you're using braid, and you probably can't hear it on this video. This braid, this is 65-pound braid. It works nearly the same, but it's rougher. The braid is more abrasive going out the crack, and I'll show you the big difference. And I can hear it. I'm having to pull harder, and the only difference is it's braid, not mono. Braid's the same. You notice it's a little bit slower when I pull it out. Same way with here. It still comes out, but here's when it becomes an issue. If you're not using the brush guard with braid, I don't know if you saw a while ago, stuff on that. You saw the mono keep coming up to these areas right here. This braid is probably a third the size of the mono I was using. Actually, that mono I was using is the mono that we have that'll be on the market. It's being boxed up right now. It's an 80-pound. We're working on some 50 and 40. It's some 80-pound black, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And that's just a leader line. But as you come up here, it's that braid won't go. Got stuck everywhere. The braid will not rise. It's going to get stuck. And the only difference in this rig than the other one is mono. This is mono, slick, glossy, braid. You can cut PVC pipe with it. Kind of think about that. If you're targeting brush, I know it's expensive to try to have, you know, if you go to a tournament or something, you have 10 rods that are with braid on them, and then you get there and you pre-fish, and you find, I've ran into the same deal, and you don't, brush is where you're going to target, and you're going to drift planer boards. You know, changing all your lines out, and we've done this before. It's a lot of work to do in order to have 10 more rods. One for braid, where you're not going to necessarily need it for dragging, and a set of 10 rods for, but there's something to think about. I think this is a big part of, if you're dragging, if you're targeting structure, mono, I mean, it's proof right there. I can't, you know, you saw me a while ago without the brush guard getting up to that V. Without it getting to the V. And that's, like I say, the difference is the thin braid, it's abrasive. Anyway, through with that part of it, I'm gonna show you so if you notice, a lot of our stuff that we're putting out is black. This is kind of our preferred go-to. I know the red float's selling the most online, but we like the black, and I'll tell you why we like the black. We have a black line, black float, and then we have a red hook. It's a neutral color. We don't want to draw fish sometimes to our rig, our line, our float. We just want them to get the bait. And the big thing about, and we've learned this, and it was not what we designed this line for. We designed it to be snagless, and turns out it had an effect on fish on a bad day. You know, we all have that bad day where fish aren't biting, and I think we're pretty sure it was because of this, you know, streamline through the water. You know, it's not anything thick. This is compared to a Como float. It's pretty big. We made this narrower and longer, and it was quiet going through the water, with or without the rattles. Anyway, I think there would be we've tested it a lot. I mean, a lot. You could probably ask my wife and Coy's wife why brooms are missing, brushes are missing, toothbrushes are missing, because we've made so many of them when we started doing it, and that's what we used. We've still got brooms here with half the bristles off of them. Anyway, I won't get myself in trouble again. That's a good product. I would look at that. Try it out. I think you'll see the results. Another thing we have is the rattle pegs. I'm going to use my mouth. So if you use I think this is a Como float. Our rattle pegs are patent pending. They have the wedge in them, 3 stainless steel BBs, and it also has a stainless steel BB that caps the end of it. You don't have to have our floats. They're real loud. You know, this is a Como float. You actually sell these separately, or you can actually, this is a 3-pack of floats with 6 rattles in it. So either way, if you don't want to buy our floats, we have rattle pegs, a bunch of them, and separately. By the way, I'll try to make this fast. 2 ounce and 3 ounce are in stock. The 2 ounce we have plenty. The 3 ounce we're kind of limited right now. Most of the packages got damaged in shipping, so they got sent back and being repackaged. We still have quite a few left, but I don't think they're going to last very long. Those also will be in these boxes behind me with Macy's Fishing Finds and Tackle Bandit. I'm going to show you a little bit. So when you buy a set, this is a 2 ounce. 2 ounce of black. Again, we would probably go black on all of the colors, but it's easier to distinguish the sizes on the dragging weights by color. And also I'd like to add, we have designed and ordered, having manufactured a 4 ounce. We weren't going to do it, but the 4 ounce actually turned out pretty decent. Still a pretty narrow rig. When I take these out of the roll, they have a little bit of memory. It doesn't take very long at all to get that out. I pull on a little bit before I tie my line, but as you can see, this is a 2 ounce. And the 3 ounce, let's see if I got one open. And the reason I've got these out of the packages, because we do have, and if you buy some right now from us, there's a good chance you may get a 2-pack, if that's all you buy, in a poly bag off our website. Get this undone. Probably should have done this before I started the video. Hope to see everybody back on the road again soon. I think the next tournament we're going to fish is Twisted Cat Outdoors, and I believe it's Cape. I personally missed a lot of tournaments, so I was hoping to get the fish. Sea Arc, some of King Cat's tournaments that were in Louisiana I missed. I missed several Twisted Cat tournaments already. But anyway, here's the 3 ounce. Same thing, 32 inch. Flimsy, goes through the brush really easy. So that kind of shows you. I'm going to try to hurry because I don't want to make this too long. We also have the float and peg in red. So you got black and red. We don't have as many of the red, so those will probably go. A lot of people like the red. The reels are in red. We like the black. That's why we have more stock of the black, and we have double the stock in black than we did the red. And we'll kind of just see how you guys, what color you like the best, but we're partial to the black. All right, next thing I've got is we have all of our hooks in stock. We have the 10 count. We have the 8/0 weed guarded hooks and 5 and 10 count. And I'm gonna make this real quick so we get to the end of it. We're excited. We have and these are all offset eye or octopus hooks. It's what I use, what Coy uses. I didn't realize there was that many people that liked. This is a non-weed guard. We actually have some that are non-weed guard hooks. This is a 10/0, and I'll just show you. Ours have the bent eye. When we designed this hook, I've talked to a lot of people about the weed guard. You know, we tried weed guard before. We made our own weed guards, but something we did differently than taking 5 or 10 years ago. I used to do the same thing and just taking and tying a wire on here. A lot of times what I like to do in bass fishing is I just put a double wire. When we first started wacky worming it, I don't know, 20 something years ago, you couldn't find the wacky hooks with the weed guards you find now, so we would tie our own. But when we got, doing this more for catfishing, what we noticed is the stem is shorter on a normal circle hook. And it does what that does, and I'll try to use this as a demonstration. That's pretty good. So, normal eye is that high, so it kind of, let me get this. So your weed guard is at that angle. Well, you're right. It was tougher to open up that weed guard wire at that angle. So we made an extension on the shank of the hook, or at this angle. So when it goes by something and a fish grabs it, it's easier to release. I'm going to show everybody. I'm going to have to open this pack because I don't have anything. And this is something we haven't discussed before. This is something I learned a long time ago using bass lures. And a lot of times you have to tune, like a spinner bait kind of the same way you have to, it's important to look at your, so here's your weed guard hook. This is a 10-aught. When you pop it loose, this thing will go everywhere. You'll notice how wide open that is. If I do this, and if I'm in some really heavy cover, I mean really heavy cover, and I'm probably gonna leave it like that, so there's more pressure holding this weed guard down. If I'm fishing, I'm fishing some flats. There's a few places that Mick and I fish over in 6 to 9 foot of water, and there's not a tree around. It's just mud. And what I like to do, that's when I go to tuning it. So I'm gonna bend this down, but there is some occasional brush that you're gonna hit that you hardly ever see, and you will get hung up on occasion. I'm gonna tune it where it's closer to that. So when I set it in there, that's gonna be easier to pop loose. And if I wanna go back to the heavy structure, I'm gonna take that wire, put it in. It's not as easy, getting off the camera, it's not as easy to that. So it's important that when you get your hooks, open them up, put them on the line, look at where you are, how you're fishing, and tune the weed guard. I think another thing too, the weed guard's only as good as the weed guard stays intact. When you start pulling, one of the things that, well, I got hung up on my weed guard hooks. Well, a lot of times when we're pulling baits, we're pulling for that same hook for an hour or two. Realistically, it should be, I would think you would want to be changing bait quicker than that. But say you go through a tree, you've unhooked it, it's moved over like that, then you're essentially fishing with a bare hook like you were before. So it's important to, every once in a while, check your baits, check your weed guard, and then tune it. You can be, high powered, cock it in, and it takes quite a bit for that to come unwrapped. But that's important. I haven't talked about that. It's actually on the packages of the hook on the back. It kind of explains that. That'll help you a lot. I've learned that lesson a long time ago. What else we have? Some new hooks. So we've got this one's the big one that we made. Experimenting with different treble hooks. This is a stinger. I know I've talked to a lot of anglers, and one of the things that always gripes me is this can be used in bumping. This can be used dragging, anchored, and it happens in tournament fishing. That one fish that you need, you didn't get because he grabbed a hold of the, we're using a 12-inch skipjack, and he's literally stripped the skin off of it. Didn't go far enough up the bait to get it, and that can happen with small baits, smaller fish. I used to always use stingers when I recreational catfish, and we got 4 times more fish in the boat. I didn't like the fact that using a big treble hook like this as a stinger, because it could hurt the fish. We consider that. We're still working on some other designs with the treble hook. But one of the things that you take in consideration is if they get close back there, you still have the weed guard. This weed guard's not exactly going through, the hook is not going through the corner of their mouth when it gets closer to their throat, just like a circle hook. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. We actually have a design that we're working on where the tips on these treble hooks will be bent like a circle hook, so that'll help too. But we have this design right here. I think this is a 7. I believe we have a couple thousand 6-aught weed guarded hooks coming, and they may be this size. They look big when it's a treble hook. But anyway, they're coming. They're being made right now. They should be available. If you shop for treble hooks in a bigger size, they're very expensive. And we worked a long time to find a company that could actually build it correctly and look like this. We've got some here that they actually built, and we're excited to see those. Next thing we do is I have a lot of friends. I didn't realize this. This is our new hook. It's coming, new design. My good friends Alex Nagy, Kevin Parks, Charles Blair, they don't like the octopus offset. They like tying Snell tie on a straight. You know, like, a lot of you do it. I don't. Well, the mono goes on this side and you snell it. So trying to design that and playing with it, the problem we had was the weed guard worked better, the wire worked better coming in on the back side, and it's bent, and we had no problems. And we started trying to design, see if it was possible to do. And actually, it's a little harder to manufacture, but the snail is easier to tie on this hook than the octopus hook, which we thought was odd. But anyway, these are coming. These are closer to a 12-aught. I really like these hooks. We are also we're probably going to do these in a straight eye, and we're fixing to add probably an octopus, an offset eye in these. And these will be a larger hook, different design than our 10-aught. We still have our 10-aught. We've had really good luck with our 8-aughts. Lots of pictures of catches in the last 8 to 10 months with those. Anyway, that's some of the things that are going on right now. The mono is new. It'll be here soon. The hooks will be here soon. And we have quite a bit of stuff that's new that we won't be talking about, but hopefully in the next month or two, we'll be making some big announcements on some other stuff that we have coming and what we're doing. But other than that, next stop for us fishing will be Cape Girardeau at Twisted Cat Outdoor Tournament, and we'll be fishing some more. I can't name them all because I don't know all the dates. I've just kind of gotten focused back on fishing and feeling a lot better. But we have a pretty good stock of products, and then Macy's Fish and Find and Tackle Bandit will be shipped this week. They'll have some stock as well of everything that we have, other than the mono. Again, the red 3-ounce were limited on stock, and then the brush guard sells in a package of 3. We're really limited on those. So I don't even know how many we got left. Not many. Those sold. What we had sold pretty quick. But we do have some left online. But if you can't get them from us, be sure to check Macy's and Tackle Bandit out. They'll have quite a few landing this week. Anyway, I've had enough. I've been talking now for 27 minutes. See if we can edit that a little bit. But I wanted y'all to know, say hi. Thanks for the prayers and the support for the 2 months I've been absent. I'm near getting close to full throttle, and hope to see you guys on the water soon. Thanks.